A new doctrine in the making. When Donald J. Trump stepped into the Oval Office, many expected disruption. But few foresaw the extent to which his business acumen would redefine global diplomacy. Rather than following traditional geopolitical strategies rooted in ideology, alliances, or military strength, Trump introduced a radical pivot: commercial diplomacy, centered on deal-making and economic leverage. This approach has redrawn the map of U.S. foreign relations, particularly in the Middle East and South Asia. This report unpacks the $2 trillion web of deals, the strategies behind them, and the diplomatic shockwaves still rippling across the globe. The media has often spotlighted Trump the personality but has missed the structural shift his policies introduced. Here, we dive deep into the commercial blueprint that is rewriting the rules of international relations. Strategy 1. Prioritizing deals over doctrine. Traditional diplomacy is governed by long-held doctrines, alliances based on shared democratic values, military cooperation, and ideological alignment. Trump flipped the script. His administration centered its foreign policy not on idealism but on pragmatism, prioritizing economic transactions over philosophical alignment. Saudi Arabia, $600 billion in investments, including $142 billion in military procurement. Trump's historic visit in 2017 set the tone for a flurry of economic cooperation, ranging from infrastructure to defense. Qatar, a $243 billion economic partnership, punctuated by a $96 billion Boeing deal. Despite past tensions, commerce paved the way for renewed relations. UAE, $14.5 billion in aircraft purchases and joint ventures in AI and tech infrastructure, including a massive regional data center initiative. These agreements are not just about dollar signs, they signify a move away from ideological rigidity and toward transactional partnerships. Countries once viewed through a security or ideological lens are now seen as business opportunities. Nowhere is this clearer than in Trump's stunning pivot on Syria. Against the advice of career diplomats, his administration lifted sanctions in what was seen as an unthinkable gamble. The rationale: economic engagement could stabilize the region and foster long-term U.S. influence. Though controversial, it signaled a willingness to bypass conventional logic in favor of calculated disruption. Strategy 2. Business leaders over career diplomats. Trump's foreign policy team was as unconventional as his approach. Gone were the Ivy League-trained diplomats steeped in decades of protocol. In their place, entrepreneurs, financiers, and market-savvy operators like Howard Lutnick, CEO of Cantor Fitzgerald, and real estate magnate Stephen Witkoff. These were not people trained in statecraft, they were seasoned in negotiation, risk analysis, and market leverage. That difference in mindset made all the difference. Unlike traditional diplomats who prioritize stability and long-term institutional relationships, Trump's team pursued fast, high-impact deals in an international environment increasingly driven by economic growth. This team often outmaneuvered foreign counterparts stuck in traditional frameworks. This shift toward deal-making led to more dynamic, flexible, and financially driven engagements. It also generated tensions within the State Department, where traditionalists found themselves sidelined. But it allowed Trump to break through diplomatic gridlock, especially in regions long resistant to U.S. overtures. Strategy 3. Engaging controversial partners when economics align. The most provocative element of Trump's commercial diplomacy was his willingness to engage with controversial or adversarial nations provided there was mutual economic benefit. Take Pakistan. Despite its ties to 15 U.S. designated terrorist groups and historically rocky relations with Washington, Trump floated a zero-tariff trade deal with Islamabad. The move shocked diplomatic circles and infuriated India, a long-standing U.S. ally, and one of the world's largest economies. But Trump made his position clear. Economic opportunity trumps old grievances. If there's mutual profit, there's room for negotiation. His approach to China followed the same logic. Despite rising tensions and Beijing's classification as a strategic competitor, Trump negotiated a landmark Phase 1 trade deal, lowering tariffs and securing intellectual property protections. Critics argued this legitimized China's authoritarian regime, but Trump's supporters saw it as a win for U.S. manufacturing and export markets. By extending olive branches wrapped in dollar signs, Trump redefined who could be a U.S. partner. Even historical adversaries were now potential collaborators, if the price was right. Risks and rewards of commercial diplomacy. This strategy carries undeniable risks. Security trade-offs. Engaging adversaries economically can empower regimes hostile to U.S. interests. Short-termism. Commercial gains may not translate into long-term stability or institutional reform. Strained alliances. Traditional partners may feel sidelined or devalued. Ethical dilemmas. Deals with authoritarian or corrupt regimes raise questions about American values, yet the potential upsides are equally significant. Job creation. Major deals can boost American industries and employment. Economic growth. New partnerships open untapped markets. Agility. A transactional approach allows faster adaptation to global shifts. Strategic leverage. Economic dependency can increase U.S. influence without military intervention. A shift in diplomatic philosophy at its core. Trump's approach isn't just about economics. It's about a complete reimagining of what diplomacy means. Outcomes over ideals. Results take precedence over values. Prosperity over morality. Financial growth matters more than regime type. Deals over doctrines. Transactional success overrides institutional loyalty. This isn't merely a tactic, it's a philosophy. One that views global politics as a marketplace, not a battlefield of ideas. The road ahead. Can commercial diplomacy deliver? The ultimate question is execution. Can these deals be fully implemented? Will the short-term economic victories mature into long-term geopolitical wins? There are early signs of success. Regional powers in the Middle East are becoming more economically integrated. China is showing signs of trade recalibration. Pakistan has responded with cautious optimism to commercial overtures, but serious challenges remain. Tensions with NATO allies have escalated. Human rights concerns have been deprioritized. The absence of a values-based framework could backfire in volatile regions. Yet even skeptics admit the conversation has changed. Trump's commercial diplomacy has shaken the foundation of U.S. foreign policy. For decades, America has played the role of global policeman, moral leader, and ideological enforcer. Trump proposed a different role. Global dealmaker. Whether history will judge this as visionary leadership or reckless entrepreneurship remains to be seen. But the shift is undeniable. Conclusion. The deal as doctrine. Trump's legacy may not lie in the laws he passed or the speeches he gave, but in the precedent he set for us foreign policy. By embedding business at the heart of diplomacy, he offered a new playbook, one that future leaders, both allies and adversaries, cannot ignore. The world has responded, not always with applause, but often with open arms and open checkbooks. In an era where power is increasingly measured in economic terms, Trump's doctrine of commercial diplomacy may prove to be his most enduring and transformative idea. One thing is clear: the old rules no longer apply.